Today we have an interview with Tristan Turner of FroZone Productions, who is a creator on Blackbox. Stand by. Okay, Tristan, I'm so happy you could join me. And I've learned a lot from you. I think you're an amazing creator. And I just thought it would be a good time to interview you and ask you a few questions, such as, how did you get started doing video?
So I've always been a content creator, so to speak. I've made terabytes of footage, and I was just sitting around with all this footage, and I was wondering, what am I going to do with it? And so I found Blackbox through Jevin Dovey's site, his YouTube channel, and I just started uploading stock. So I've always had a love for filming nature and landscapes and time lapses. So it just was natural for me to start to sell it.
I must have watched the same video about the same time, because that's how I got started on Blackbox too. And one thing he said on there, which stuck with me, was the only way to fail is if you stop trying. Because what I was concerned with was I had no experience. You have experience. You were a wedding photographer or some event photographer, weren't you?
So yeah, I picked up a camera when my son was born, and I started videotaping and taking pictures of all of that. Then it went from, oh, well, can you shoot my wedding? So of course, naturally, I needed the money because I had camera gear. So I filmed a couple weddings, and then it was, oh, can you film this party that I have? Okay, sure. So it became event coverage. And so I really relied on that skill for the longest time to build up my skills, and to the point where I can, sell people just other clips of maybe the forest or trees or birds or something like that. So.
I think that shows too. I think your experience shows. Whereas I had no experience when I started with Blackbox, and I'm just getting into it. So for me, because I create, for those of you who don't know, I'm the curator for Tristan's probably the majority of the clips that he submits to Blackbox and earns money on, at least now. So which helped me because I could see what you're doing, and then I could learn from it too. I could learn the camera moves and just subtle things like that I was picking up while I was curating for you. What is your favorite thing what is your favorite type of content?
So it's difficult because I like to shoot people, but I don't have people to shoot. So I naturally turn to the clouds because I live in an area where we don't get many cloudy days. And so when we do, I like to watch the clouds form. So I'll sit there and watch the clouds form anyway. So I figured might as well just shoot some time lapses. So I got into time lapse photography and time lapse video, and it just took hold. So that's pretty much 90% of what I shoot now, and then the other 5% is my wife.
Yeah, I think both of those are really good, in part because your talent shows through, especially on the landscape time lapses that you do. But also the food. Both of those subjects to me are timeless. They don't go with trends. Hairstyles change, clothes change, all those types of things change. But cooking and time lapses, nature, that's not going to change. I think that's going to pay off for you in the long run, and me too.
Yeah. I love that I can tell you, okay, I went out to this location, and you just come up with a million words for that location that I would have never thought of. So I'm just like, okay, voice, you got it from here on out.
Yeah, that was kind of another question I had, because you're a native speaker of English. You're obviously very good at English, and you could do this on your own. So is that why what other reasons do you have to collaborate with me? I'm thankful for it, but I'm just kind of wondering, why collaborate with me when you could do this on your own?
One word, I'm lazy. No, I've tried. I have an Adobe contributor account, so I'm not just on Blackbox, but I'm an Adobe contributor as well. So I first started with Adobe, and I would get a few sales here and there, and then I just found that I was shooting way too much content, having to keyword that content as well, and the time didn't work out for me. It wasn't until I found Blackbox and I was, okay, well, I don't have to do that portion of the work. I can stick to content creation, which is my favorite thing to do. If it was up to me to do both, I probably wouldn't be in stock as it was.
How is it? How is it paying off for you? What are your not to get into too personal, but what are you earning on Blackbox?
You know, it's somewhere in between 400 to 500 to my highest month has been like an $800 month, but I only had that one time. So it's usually hovering around the average of $500. So it's not a lot, but it's enough to keep me engaged.
And it pays for the equipment.
I mean, yeah, we pour a lot of money into this gear, and it's good to get a return on it. In
Yeah,
fact, I was able to upgrade my camera only because I'm shooting stock.
yeah.
If it was outside of stock, I wouldn't have been able to upgrade my camera.
And you're shooting on what's your main camera now?
I'm shooting mainly 100% of well, I'll say 80% of my content comes from the Sony FX3. And it's interesting because I didn't think it would be a good photography landscape situation. It wouldn't, because it's a cinema camera. So I got it and then I rented it first. And then I saw that I could get just the same time lapses with this camera than with something like my A6500, which just happened to break. So it was perfect timing to come into this system.
I started out with similarly. I started out with some basic equipment, and I just currently bought the A74, the brand new A74, all paid for through Blackbox. So and that keeps the wife happy too, you know, because his hobby is not coming out of the family money, so to speak. What other equipment do you use? I mean, I kind of know this because I'm curated. I can usually tell in part the way you title things, and in part, you know, just I'm getting used to the views. But you also have a drone, and you do some stuff with action cameras as well. Oh, you have two drones, I think.
So yeah, I have the DJI series of drones, but one of them's broken. So I'm primarily shooting with the Mavic 2. I would like to get the Mavic 3, but it doesn't seem like I'm making enough quite yet with my aerial shots. The hyperlapses don't do as well as, say, the GoPro on the top of the car footage. So you kind of have to choose, okay, where's the majority of my money coming from? Is mostly my time lapses. So I was able to focus more on the GoPro. So I got the GoPro Hero 10, and that's been the sidekick to the FX3, so to speak.
It surprises me. It might surprise others. What? Because I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. What is your biggest selling clip?
The one clip that I've sold for the most money is actually a shot that's not on Blackbox, but it's a shot from Adobe. I shot this top-down drone shot of the ocean, and Adobe approached me and said, "Hey, we would like to use that footage to teach a series." So they bought that one clip, and they roughly paid me $1,500 for that one clip. But that was one time 8 years ago. The clip that sells the most is, in fact, a GoPro clip. It's magnet mount on the top of a Jeep, and I'm going through a desert terrain with dust coming, and I sell that. What do you say, like 3 times a month?
It
If
sells
that?
at least 3 times a month, and I think one month it sold 8 times. And it's, I mean, it's a surprise to me. I know it's a surprise to you, but the more I look at it, the more I kind of am seeing the reason why. Because it's got the sand blowing. You're out in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness in this harsh topography, rugged terrain, and there's a lot of keywords. So I'm looking at it from a keyword perspective. I'm thinking lost, forgotten, forlorn, empty, scared. That and I don't know what's selling on that clip except that I think that's it. I think it's just, but it's so in some ways so ordinary. It surprised me a little bit, and it probably paid for your GoPro 5 times.
And it's tough to replicate, to tell you the truth, because I travel that road maybe 4 or 5 times a week, and it's never that windy, it's never that dusty, but and I've uploaded several clips like it at different points in time, and that one just seems to sell because of the dust and the aridness of it. So you came up with words that I wouldn't even thought of thinking lost. I knew where I was at, but you saw that in the footage. So that's the collaboration between someone seeing. It's almost like you have fresh eyes on content that I've already seen. So you're able to look at it from a different perspective
I
than
think it's also helpful too. There's the thing that works with collaboration is communication, and I can text you or message you anytime, and you answer. You call me regularly, and when I'm not sure what the story is, sometimes I'll make up a story because I'll look at that road clip and I think, man, here's a story. You're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a sandstorm going on, tumbleweeds rolling across the road is covered in sand, and you're feeling lost. But sometimes I'm not sure. I'm looking at it, I'm not sure what the story is here, and you're quick to call me. Or sometimes it needs to be editorial. When you were doing some drone shots of the drifting, and that with the car, all the copyright stuff on the car, those had to be editorial, and in the title you were able to put where and when, and so that just saved me a lot of time. So there's little things like that we've come up with over time, and that I use with other people too. I tell them now, if we're going to work together, we got to have this open communication.
And that was something you taught me too. You said to maybe in the title of the clip that because I export a clip, I can put right in the title the date, the time, and that way you see it right away. But it took time for us to work back and forth to figure that system out. I think that's a benefit of collaboration. You learn how to work with someone, and the more you work with this person, the better the collaboration gets, and the faster you can pump out content. Because I believe we put out like over 2,000 clips in the course of a year and a half.
Yep, 2,000 clips, and to me, it's really worthwhile too. I find that I can only do a few clips at a time, because I look at the screen. I'm not fresh anymore, so I'll do like 5 at a time. But it also helps because I think if I'm earning 20% of 5 clips, that's as if I was doing one on my own. And that keeps me motivated because I look at the 2,000. I mean, that would just be so hard for me to do on my own. But if I'm only doing, my part of it, then it makes it easier. What advice do you have? Somebody getting involved in stock video, whether it be on Blackbox or on their own, any advice you have for them?
I would try to figure out what you want to shoot first. And if you're into, shooting anyway, just find go through your catalog and say, I really like to shoot this because I've shot a lot of it. And then I would talk to someone in the Facebook groups that we have, or just try to find somebody if you want to collaborate with. And say, hey, maybe do a few clips with that person and see how they kind of word your footage and see how it works out. Because you don't have to marry a collaborator. That's the benefit of doing Blackbox. You can test different ones out to see, okay, this one just pretty much just goes to Google and just types in words and then it fills up a blank. But I can say, hey, I want this word to be on top because they'll search for this word. But if you're not, it takes a lot of humility, to work with somebody. So I think being a humble person like yourself, it was easy for us to get a good established working relationship.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've said the same thing to people is don't make an agreement with somebody. You don't want to get married when you can date. So give them 5 clips. See how it goes. See if there's communication. See if you like the way they did it. And if you don't have to be rude. But if you don't like it, you can just say, hey, thanks. I'm going another direction now, or I appreciate your help with those clips. You don't have to enter into a long-term agreement. Wait till you've got a relationship with somebody and you trust them and the communication is there, because usually the other thing I've seen is the other way around is people put up a show reel that's stunning and then you say, send me all your clips, and they send 50 clips, 5 of which are good. And you start thinking, do I really want to work with this person? Well, it's, again, I can say, I don't do that anymore. Now I've learned to say, send me a couple clips. Let's see how it goes. Actually, right now, I don't take on anybody new because you and a couple of others are keeping me plenty busy. I think you're doing 50, on the average, 50 clips a week. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I try not to hit the 70 clip a week mark, but I'm doing, it's ebbs and flows. I have seasons where my wife is cooking, but in the summertime, she's not. So I'm out shooting a lot more desert action and clouds, and in between the season changes is the only time I get clouds. So, it's very seasonal. Sometimes I'll have a big week, and my wife cooked 6 meals, and so I'd film each one, and then just chew at it.
And those meals make me so hungry.
I'm sorry.
Gumbo, wild rice. I mean, she's phenomenal. So thank her for me. Well, I appreciate this. I appreciate your time with me. I hope here on this show. And by the way, we should note, last time I looked, you had 996 subscribers on your channel. Surely 4 people watching this that aren't already subscribed to you can go there and let's make it 1,000. That should be easy, right? Please do that.
Yeah, we get you to 1,000, we get me to 1,000. Maybe we would be able to do a YouTube live stream of this.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for your time, Tristan.
All right, boys, take it easy.
Okay.